how much is your purchasing power? In cities like Pune, almost every family has many people who are abroad. So on one side, it brings a higher standard of living, whereas on the other side, the parents, when they become old, will have to fend for themselves. With the result, there is a new business which has come, that is the business of senior citizen homes. These are the social changes which are happening. Political factors. Political factors affect us in a far more way than we can imagine. Political factors such as what is the philosophy of the particular political party. For example, the communists in India, they are having a philosophy that every one of their decisions must garner votes. The communists believe in the power of the masses. So every decision they take, what they want to know is it going to help us in the next election? Whereas in a BJP-led state, they have two things. Everything, all their decisions must ultimately lead to making it in India, Swadeshi. And the second, their decisions must help India to become a strong nation with the ultimate aim of getting a veto power in a UNO. These are the political factors. See, Dr. Manmohan Singh as a finance minister and P.V. Narasimha Rao as the Prime Minister of India, what they did, liberalization, privatization and globalization, and India never has been same. So this is the impact of political factors. Economical factors. Economical factors such as how much is the GDP, gross domestic product of the nation. Currently, India's GDP or gross domestic product is 2 trillion US dollars. How much is a trillion? 1,000 billion makes a trillion, and $1 billion is roughly around 6,100 crores. What is our rate of growth? Current rate of growth is 5.6%, but it is forecasted that in next year it will touch 6.5%. How much are our exports vis-a-vis how much are our imports? Actually, our imports are much larger than our exports to the tune of more than 200 billion US dollars. But there is a foreign currency reserve of roughly 315 billion US dollars. This happens primarily because in India, invisibles contribute a huge money. What are the invisible? Such as software industry, which brings around 75 to 80 billion US dollars. Then non-resident Indians and the persons of Indian origin bring huge 71 billion US dollars. These two heads alone, the deficit is almost covered. In addition, there are earnings from tourism, which is roughly around 15 billion US dollars. Then there is foreign direct investment, which is about 10 billion dollars. Then earning of the shipping companies and the airlines, at least one leg, they bring dollars or foreign currency in India. What is the purchasing power parity? What is a PPP or a purchasing power parity? That is the actual real value of the rupee. So against various currency, the dollar actually doesn't have a power to buy worth 62 rupees. Actually, it is not even half. So actually, the strength of the rupee is much more than what it looks. After applying purchasing power parity, actually you will find that Indian economy is already bigger than the Japanese economy. That is what is economical. Legal. What is legal environment? In a legal environment, every single thing which we do, whether we want to construct a house, whether we want to make a building, everywhere we are under a constraint, and that constraint is we have to take some permissions. Without taking the permissions, it is difficult to do any business, that is the legal constraint. Otherwise, the government officials will come and stop your business. Legal environment also takes into account the damage to the environment. So, we talk about air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, radiation, the entire green movement, that is legal environment. Next is supplier environment. Now, supplier environment, customer environment and competitors come under the factors that influence the environment directly. For example, supplier environment is the availability of the 4 M's, main, money, material and machinery. Main, money, material and machinery, main. See, on one side we have the next year roughly around 1.8 million Bs will roll out, and the MBAs and the MBA equivalent could be matching it. Almost 1.8 to 2 million Indians will take a MBA or its equivalent degree. So, that is pertaining to men. Money, as we have already seen, we are sitting pretty on 315 billion US dollars. So, that gives us a flexibility. In case there is something in a short supply, we can always import it. It is very much possible to import. Third, machinery. In this nation, we can always make all kind of machinery, and as I told you, if there is something which is in a short supply, we can always import it. There is enough foreign exchange. So, main, money, material and machinery, everything we have adequate money to import it if it is required. Again, customers. India, it is said, is having the largest customers in the world. We have the largest customers in the world and competitors. What is astonishing is India has become a ferociously competitive market. Take a sample. There are 18,000 companies in information technology, IT and IT enabled services. There are 22,000 companies in pharmaceutical industry, in allopathic pharma, but in Ayurvedic pharma, there are 8,250 companies. There are 7 airlines in a domestic market and 7 airlines in the international market. 17 tractor manufacturers, 42 car manufacturers. India, there are almost in every business there is a fierce competition. So, these are the factors given by the competitors. We have seen internal environmental factors. They are HR, finance, marketing, production and operations, information technology and general management. Now, we will see what are the 4 grand strategies as given by William Glick. Basically says he, there are 4 basic strategies. What are the 4 basic strategies? A stability strategy, expansion strategy, retrenchment strategy and combination strategy. Again, once more deliberately, a stability strategy, an expansion strategy, a retrenchment strategy and a combination strategy. Stability strategy or a stability grand strategy, expansion strategy, retrenchment strategy and a combination strategy. What is the stability strategy and when it should be used? When the company wants to serve the same product but in the same market with the existing technology, we are going for stability strategy. Once more, when the company wants to serve the same product in the same market using the same technology, it is going for stability strategy. In an expansion strategy, the company broadens the customer group, customer functions and alternative technologies. We want to substantially increase the scope of the customer group, customer functions and alternative technology. We are using expansion grand strategy. Retrenchment strategy. when the company wants to reduce the scope of the customer group, customer functions and alternative technology, it is a retrenchment strategy. Once more, what is the retrenchment strategy? When the company wants to reduce the scope of the customer group, customer functions and alternative technology, it is a retrenchment strategy. There are actually two types of retrenchment strategy. One, you can have a geographical withdrawal or you can have a product withdrawal. Then comes combination grant strategy, when we have to use a combination of stability, expansion and retrenchment grant strategies on one product at different times or on different product at the same time so as to improve performance. Once more, a combination grant strategy is employed by the organization when you use a combination of stability, expansion and retrenchment grant strategy on one product at different time or on different product at the same time so as to improve performance. Remember, all the four strategies has the same aim. What is that aim? To improve performance. Whether you increase the business or whether you keep the business same but reduce the cost, whether you reduce the business but your cost should come down faster than your revenues are coming down, or you use a combination of all, our ultimate aim is to improve performance. So all the strategies given by William Glick, whether it is a stability strategy, expansion strategy, retrenchment strategy or a combination strategy, have the same aim, and that aim is to improve performance. Modernization strategy. What is a modernization strategy? In today's world, what we want to achieve is, you want to dramatically increase not only the quality, but also increase the quantity, in which we will have to go for modernization strategy. When a company uses technology to increase production and to reduce cost and to increase productivity, it is going for what is known as modernization strategy. It is going for modernization strategy. Integration strategies. What is the integration strategy? Basically, there are two types of integration, a vertical integration and a horizontal integration. A vertical integration and a horizontal integration. In a vertical integration, again you have two types of strategies, a backward integration and a forward integration. In a backward integration, the company goes one step closer to the raw material, or it starts manufacturing what it is purchasing. I will repeat again. In a backward integration, the company takes one step backward or goes one step closer to the raw material, or it starts manufacturing what it is purchasing. And that strategy is backward integration. For example, if an engineering industry starts its own foundry unit or a forging unit, earlier it was purchasing forgings as well as casting. Now if it starts its production, it's a backward integration. In a forward integration, the company takes one step closer to the customer. So an engineering company which sets up all India wide distribution network, it is a forward integration. The second type of integration is horizontal integrators. In a horizontal integration, the company can go for a competitor's product, complementary products, byproducts or a waste to wealth products. What is a competitor's product? When a company wants to expand the business, enter into the new business which competitors are doing, we don't want the competitor to have a free run. We should match him product by product, services by services. For example, when Bajaj Auto came out with a 110cc caliber, immediately TVS came with a 110cc Victor. Why? To match, we don't want our competitor to have a free run. So everywhere this is what you will find. We always try to match the competitor. For example, Hyundai came with a Hyundai Santro, which was a very tall car. Immediately, Maruti Suzuki came with a Wagon R. What is that strategy? Don't allow your competitor to have a free run. Bajaj Auto came with a Boxer, a cheap motorcycle. Immediately, in those days, Honda also came with Honda Joy. Why? Not to allow the competitor to have a free run. That is a competitor's product. A complementary product is a product which complements the original product. For example, many of the powers to be, instead of using a ballpoint pen, they will use a Parker pen. Now the Parker pen, you have to use Parker ink, which is expensive, or a Reynolds ballpoint pen, only Reynolds refill will fit in. What is it? It is a complementary product. So what they do, the Reynolds pen is cheap, but the Reynolds refill is very expensive. It is 4 rupees per refill, and no other refill fits in a Reynolds pen. Byproducts. Byproducts are the products which get manufactured in the process of making the end product, but they have commercial value. Again, byproducts are the products which get manufactured in the process of making the end product, but they have commercial value. Example of a byproduct, the classic example is in the sugar industry there is molasses. In the sugar industry there is molasses. Molasses is the mother chemical for 72 basic chemicals such as ethylene oxide, monoethylene glycol, ethyl alcohol, methyl alcohol. All of them are so important to India. Ethanol can be blended with a petrol 10%. Our huge crude oil bill can come down. Or methyl alcohol can be used in our stoves. It gives a very, very beautiful flame. Or this plywood, instead of cutting jungles to make plywood, you can use bagasse, which is a byproduct. Put resins and compress it. Very nice plywood is made. Waste to wealth product. Actually, everything in life there is some use. Waste products like the byproducts also get manufactured willy-nilly against our will in the process of making the end product, but they have commercial value. I am sorry, they do not have commercial value. They do not have commercial value without processing, without change of technology. A classic example of a waste is our city waste. City waste, actually you have to pay for its removal. City waste, you have to pay for its removal, whereas the city waste can be converted into high value fertilizer by a process known as composting or vermicomposting. In a thermal power station, fly ash is a waste, but that waste is a wealth if you convert it into bricks. You can add 5% of the fly ash into cement. Cement sells for 250 rupees a bag. So what is wasted can become actually wealth. Or in a steel industry, there is a slag which calcium carbonate purifies the steel and comes with the impurities on the top. Earlier, nobody knew what is to be done with calcium carbide. But today, there is a technology developed by one company, Lafarge, which can convert the slag into cement, and cement is selling at a very good price. That is a waste to wealth product. So integration strategies, to sum up, basics to strategies are vertical integration. Again, in the verticalization you have backward integration and a forward integration. In a backward integration, company goes one step closer to the raw material or starts manufacturing what it is purchasing. Whereas in a forward integration, the company takes one step closer to the customer. In a horizontal integration, you can have a competitor's product, complementary product, byproduct, or waste to wealth product. complementary product, competitor's product, byproduct or waste to wealth product. These are the integration strategies. What are these? These are integration strategies. Next is you can have diversification strategies. Diversification strategies can be of two types. You can have a diversification into the areas which is related to your existing customer group, customer functions or alternative technology. This is called as related diversification or concentric diversification. For example, if I am flying from Pune to Bombay, I have a Volvo service. I can go into the related business such as I can take parcels, I can take couriers. It is related to the existing business. Or suppose I am a razor manufacturer like Gillette. Now, related diversification could be I could make the shaving brushes or the shaving soap or after shave lotions, which is related diversification. Why is it done? It is done to minimize the risk in a business. We spread the risk over several businesses to capitalize on organizational strength and to minimize the weaknesses, to minimize threats and to avoid current instability in business, both in profits and sales, and to utilize the resources in a better manner. See, many businesses, if you diversify, there is a stability. For example, an airline which is in a domestic market, if it goes in the international market, their business cycles are different. In India, during the Diwali time and in the month of May, there is a heavy demand in a domestic market. That time your planes will be fully occupied, but the international